Slow cooked this buffalo silverside for 6 hours, and it still turned out tough. Not just a bit tough, properly chewy, like a piece of leather. Frustrating thing is, I did everything right. Or at least, I thought I did. So, today in the kitchen, I'm cooking a 1 kilogram buffalo silverside joint. Keeping it really simple, nothing fancy. Bit of onion, some garlic, citrus, just to lift it slightly, and that's it. This is one of those cuts that should absolutely shine with low and slow cooking. Couple of garlic cloves, just crushed, again, keeping it rustic. It all goes into the same pan. Onions, garlic, a little bit of orange underneath. Then, onto the meat. Give it a good pat dry first. Really important. What we're aiming for here is an internal temperature of around 90 to 90 degrees Celsius. That's where the magic starts to happen. At that temperature, all the connective tissues break down, and it turns from tough into tender. Salt, pepper, bit of thyme. Keep it simple. This is one of those cooks where you don't want to overcomplicate it. Just let the meat do its thing. So at this point, expecting this to take maybe 4-5 hours max. Buffalo is leaner than beef, but it should still break down nicely if you treat it right. A little bit of orange zest straight onto the meat. Not loads, just enough to give it a little bit of a lift. Sit the joint on top. Crumble in your stock cube. Add a little bit of water around the edges. Don't pour it over the meat. A little squeeze of citrus, just to balance everything. Cover it with foil and put it into the oven. Now this is where patience comes in. Low and slow. I've got this set to 140 degrees Celsius. But here's where things started to feel a little bit off. After a few hours, I checked the internal temperature of the meat, and it just wasn't getting high enough. It was sitting in the high 70s, low 80s. Just wasn't getting any hotter. Even after 5-6 hours, it still wasn't there. At that point, I'm starting to question everything. Is it the meat? Is it the method? Have I done something wrong? So eventually, I pulled it out of the oven. I let it rest, then went in for a slice. And straight away, I could tell. It's firm. It's holding its shape too much. And when I cut into it, yeah, that's just not what I'm after. It eats like a well-done steak. Chewy, tight, not tender at all. So, what went wrong? And this bit's key. Meat like this doesn't just go from raw to tender. It goes through a stage where it gets tougher first. At around 70 to 80 degrees Celsius, the fibres in the meat start to tighten up, the moisture gets pushed out, and it feels exactly like this, tough. It's at this point most people give up thinking, oh, it's cooked, it's done. But once you push past around 90 degrees Celsius, that's when the collagen starts to break down into gelatin and the meat starts to relax. That's the transformation point. But this, we never got there with the temperature. The internal temperature sort of maxed out at around 80 degrees Celsius. So what I ended up with was meat stuck right in that tough zone. Now here's the interesting part. I decided to test my oven. I ordered a couple of oven thermometers off Amazon. I ordered 2 just to make sure there wasn't a defective one and to get an average temperature. So I tested my oven. I set the oven to 140 with a fan. Left it for 20 minutes to heat up, put the thermometers in, left it another 20 minutes, had a look at the readings, and it was reading 120 degrees Celsius, 20 degrees below what the oven was actually set to. So I turned it up a little bit more. I set it to 160, gave it another 10-15 minutes to warm up. It was reading 140. So my oven, what the dial's set to, is actually 20 degrees cooler inside. So this whole time, it was never going to get hot enough to push the meat through that final stage, which explains everything. You want this to be hitting that 90 degrees internal temperature, so it starts to break down and relax after it's gone through the tough phase. So, yeah, bit of a frustrating one, but definitely a lesson learned. It's not always about the time, it's about the temperature. And with cuts like this, if it's tough, it's not done yet. Simple. I'll be coming back to this one at some point, dialing in the right temperature and getting it exactly where it should be. But for now, I'll chalk this one up to experience. You ever had something like this happen? Where it all looks right, but it just didn't work out? Let me know in the comments below.